Hello everyone, welcome to the video. If this is your first time here, my name is Sylvia. I am here with my most favorite client of all time, even though she's never been a client. All right, so let's get into the tutorial. I'm going to start off with wet hair. Amelia has medium to fine hair, just typical in a toddler. And if your toddler has more coarse or curly hair, essentially it kind of makes the job easier, as in the strokes of your scissors are going to be less visible. So basically the finer the hair, the more every line of cutting that you make is going to be visible. One thing you always want to do, and this is whether you're cutting your toddler's hair or an adult's hair, is I always see this mistake of like grabbing everything and doing one large cut or one large chunk off, or doing like the little ponytails and then cutting it off. The second you do the ponytails, you're over directing hair, so you're never gonna get a very precise cut. The easiest thing you can do, no matter what type of haircut you're wanting to do, it's first of all sectioning the hair, and sectioning the hair with the hair's fall. So meaning this hair in the back falls this way. So you never want to bring it here and cut it over here. You don't want to angle it to any other side other than where it falls. I think the hardest part in cutting hair with a toddler is, of course, that they don't stay still and you're holding a very sharp object, which are your scissors. So around the face, like cutting bangs or anything like that, is the hardest. I'm going to show you kind of some tricks to keep your scissors and your child just safe. So working in quadrants helps, but more helpful than anything is working in across sections. So rather than cutting this in one go and then realizing, oh no, I've made a mistake, the only thing you can do is keep cutting shorter. But if you cut across in like at least 4 different layers, you have at least 4 opportunities to correct that cut without going shorter. So this is what I mean. I'm gonna take this first layer down here. So first step, cutting this first layer, you establish the length. Say it comes out a little bit crooked, or there's, you know, not a perfect line. When you bring down that next section, you can kind of perfect it, and you have 4 opportunities to perfect that line and that shape that you're trying to create, again, without going any shorter. Another thing you want to do is always, when you're not using the scissors, kind of cup the blades, especially around your toddler. And that just keeps everything safe as you're like combing things into place. And then when you are cutting, always keeping the blades towards you and not towards your toddler. So in case they move, they turn to you. And then when you are cutting, keeping the blade always towards your palm. Okay, and then cut the next section. Perfect. Yeah, cutting. Okay, look forward, sweetheart. Okay, now we're going to grab that next section. Your client's hair is medium to fine. 1-inch sections are perfect. And I can see where I cut my last section and where the longer pieces from this new section are. So then we are just trying to follow that. Oh, sweetheart. If you are doing a shorter cut and more like precision essentially is needed, meaning if it's more of a bob, instead of bringing it out and holding it because you are slightly over directing, it's also okay to just go in and cut almost against the back. Just, of course, making sure that you have a drape protecting. And as you can see in this next section, no hair reached beyond that line where I've cut. And the reason for that is because I've never cut Amelia's hair, and she has essentially natural layers because the hair up here has traveled further than the hair at the nape. So as you can see here, her shortest layer is actually shorter, which is great if you're just looking to kind of keep this shape. If you want to go ahead and trim those layers, you're gonna grab vertical sections like this and bring out just about 90 degrees from the head. And you can see that's kind of how the hair falls. If you were to grab much higher in elevation, you're gonna be cutting off much more layers into the hair. I feel like with toddler hair, kind of simple and just more understated is best. So we're just going to, again, grab the next section, pull at 90 degrees, hold that section in place, and then instead of just cutting straight across, I like to point cut. It just avoids any harsh lines. Then bring that down. If you've made a mistake, you'll kind of start to see across lines, but you can go back, grab that same section and point cut some more. So for this back section, I'm really only gonna do kind of 4 layers. You can see on this one here, there's a higher point. I'm just going to trim that off. So essentially keeping the same shape she had, just kind of trimming everything up so it's nice and clean. Cute. Now we're gonna do the sides. So because we have less hair on the side here, we only need to do this area maybe in halves. So first section and then second section. So first of all, this area here was already shorter, so it's already shorter than what we cut in the back. So this area kind of just like to point cut and keep that kind of same shape. Slightly round it off. And then bring down that next section and same thing, grabbing all the hair together and just slightly point cutting in that kind of slight curve leading to that face framing layer. And again, anything that's kind of around the face, I like to kind of bring back and trim. The reason why this is not elevating is because I established the shape down here and then I pinch there, and then when I bring it up, I'm not elevating. Had I done this and then brought it back and then cut, then yes, then I would have cut a layer that short. And as you can see, that would be wrong. That's not where you want a layer. So grabbing this section, letting it, and grabbing it in natural fall, bringing it down. Then after it's pinched and secure between your fingers, you can go ahead and then trim that up. And that's all we're gonna do. For that section, same thing on the other side, and essentially your haircut is done. And then we're gonna do the same thing on this side. Okay, sweetheart, Mama's using scissors around your face. We gotta be careful, okay? And then we can kind of grab these front pieces from kind of both sides, left and right side, and then bring them up just to make sure that they are somewhat even. You can kind of connect them if they're not. And that should be enough for them to match up. Amelia, sweetheart, do you want to have bangs? No. Like this? No. And so now if you wanted to do bangs, I would say this is a little bit more difficult, as in it needs to be comfortable. It needs to be short enough for your toddler so that, you know, they're not styling or like maneuvering the bangs out of their face all day. I think the problem I see with toddler bangs is they're very cut all the way across. So all I did was grab a small triangle off the center here, so about 1 inch back, and then create a small triangle, and that's going to be the main section for your bangs. Next, you want to measure how far down they want to come. If you want it to come just above the eyebrows, you actually need to cut a little bit lower, so that if you need to cut a little bit more to even it out, you're not going to go too short. And also keeping that section that you're cutting narrow here and not all the way to the edges. It allows you to establish that length kind of at the eyebrow, and then kind of soften those like little side pieces to kind of connect with the rest of the hair. Okay, so we're gonna do pretty long for the first chop. Oh my goodness, my Amelia has bangs. And then I'm gonna take some of that off to the sides, and then only this center section am I going to trim. Okay, now that we've established that center length piece, I'm going to grab a little bit from the side here and kind of just angle that down, and very angled cut to meet the rest. Once we have that established, we're going to bring everything over to the other side, and that's how we get a really good angle on those bangs. One of the easiest tricks, if you have like not a lot of chances to get this right with your toddler, is twist the hair like this from that triangle first section that you grabbed, and just twist, twist, twist. The more twisting, the better over direction you're gonna get. And then cut at the desired length, kind of letting go as you cut. And that typically will just give you a very pretty kind of rainbow effect almost on the bangs. Amelia has a big cowlick just here in the front, so her hair just parts naturally and just better kind of off to the side. So I am keeping that in mind, making sure that the side where it splits is not too short. If you feel like you need to cut more, I would highly suggest kind of blow drying it or just seeing it dry first, and then deciding whether you need to cut a little bit more off. Cute! Oh my goodness, she has bangs. Do you have bangs? So cute, sweetheart. So cute. Can you see them? Oh my god. My iPod. Yeah, I can clean it off. All right, so when I get to this point, I feel like I could keep going, but I would rather like wash it fully one time, let it air dry, and kind of see how that hair is going to live. That gives you a much better kind of idea of how that hair will fall even more naturally. And then from there, after I've let it dry naturally, that's when I can go in and just like trim it up a little bit if needed. Especially bangs cut for the first time, I always feel like they need a week to settle in. So instead of continuing to cut to make it look right, they'll just be happier in a week. You ready to get down? Mm-hmm. Do you love your new bangs? Mm-hmm. So as you can see, cutting the layers just very minimally, it's given that kind of effortless wave kind of at the ends, which is a sign of a cut that wasn't too manipulated. And for a top... Butterfly flew away? Yeah. Okay. We'll find her. Let's go outside and find her.